Hello and welcome back to Read Becca. So November has come to a close. We are at the end of nonfiction November, and that means we're going to wrap up the things I read for it. I haven't done nonfiction November in past years, but I didn't have a channel, so I couldn't quite participate at the same level, and I've always enjoyed it, but this was absolutely great this year, so really appreciate Olive for putting this together every year. So let's jump into what I actually read. I have talked about all these things in weekly updates, but we'll wrap them up here together. So first up, I read Broken in the Best of All Possible Ways by Jenny Lawson. And Jenny is most well known for her focus on mental health and humor in her works. And these are kind of memoir collection of essays style books that she has written. So this is the third, I think, collection of those. And I did read this for the collection prompt. I enjoyed this so much. As always, this had strong mental health and general health focus, such as her writing a letter to her health insurance. And this was written all before everything shut down a couple of years ago. And on the audio, I did listen to this on audio, at the end she does bring it back around to catching up what has been going on during the shutdown and how things have changed for us all and how that's affected her mental health. So I found this so insightful and perfect for the moment. So I enjoyed this one so very much. This was a 4-star read, absolutely. So the next one that I had is The Martyrdom of Collins Catch the Bear by Gerry Spence. And Gerry Spence was personally involved in this case. He is the trial lawyer for Collins Catch the Bear, and as implied by the title, this was a wrongly accused Indigenous man who was pinned with the murder of a white man. Collins was living at a tribe that were trying to kind of reclaim the land, the Yellow Thunder tribe, and they were peaceably assembling there, and this white man showed up and was murdered. And initially Collins was not in the conversation at all. His name wasn't coming up at all in the discussion, and it was pinned on somebody else. And then all of a sudden things started being pointed at him. So what Spence does so well here is builds a case of the systemic injustices that built up layer upon layer against Collins. And that does not just mean at the point of this trial. He starts all the way back in Collins' childhood, the system failing the Indigenous people in terms of them ending up alcohol dependent. His parents did, and in the foster care system, Collins and his siblings, and those systems just failing them over and over and over, winding up with white foster families who were ill-equipped to handle Indigenous children properly, and ending up in the justice system at a young age because they were treated as criminals or in need of discipline rather than in need of empathy. And so I found this a very harrowing story and presented so well. So because Gerry Spence is a trial lawyer, you can kind of get that sense of him leading the person he's addressing to the points he wants to make. So you get that leading sense, but that means also that it's very readable. So I enjoyed this quite a bit, and this is something that I had never heard talked about before. This took place in the 80s, so I was very young at the time. I think this took place the year I was born. But yeah, I have never heard this talked about, and this seems like such a critical story to be told. So really found that insightful. And then on to my physical books. I had 2 physical books. So this one is a photo book from CNN, Anthony Bourdain Remembered. And they pulled this together from a memorial page after Anthony passed away. They had people posting all about their memories of Anthony. And so there are some like famous individuals who are quoted in here, but mostly it's just random people's comments on how Anthony's work touched them and changed their lives. And Anthony was obviously a very well-known chef, and he did so many things for opening up empathy with other cultures, with other people. I personally remember seeing the episode of I can't remember if it was No Reservations or Parts Unknown, where he went to Israel and Palestine in the same episode, and it was so moving and powerful. And he had that way of just connecting with people and showing that we are not that different, and making those connections through food was really his specialty. I was fortunate enough to see him speak in person a little over a year before he passed away, and it was one of the best events that I've ever been to. And being with him there in a big theater, he had the same warmth and personality and connection to the audience that he does one-on-one, it seems, at a table, you know. And so he was telling stories and anecdotes from his travels, and hearing the things that he had to say about the ways that they wanted to make things better, and often they did that the wrong way, or the things they would try to do would destabilize areas. And so really all you could do was go in and show how people are living and make personal connections. Very often you could not make the change you wanted to in any other way. And so that personal connection was really his specialty. And I just have been a huge fan of Tony for years. He brought us into the restaurant industry as a culture. And then he shared the world with us once he gained fame and was able to travel around for his career in order to go see these amazing places and share them with us. So I absolutely love this one. And I read this one for the industry prompt as well. And then finally on here for the style prompt, I picked up Sissy, A Coming of Gender Story by Jacob Tobia. And I enjoyed this one a ton as well. All of these were fabulous reads. So this is, as it says on the tin, all about Jacob's discovery of their non-gender conforming identity and the kind of multi-phased coming out that they went through, where essentially there just wasn't any vocabulary for what that was at the time that they were growing up. And what I enjoyed so much about this particular memoir versus others that I have read is that Jacob really had a well-adjusted childhood and upbringing where they were encouraged about most of their choices. People were direct with them about the challenges they might face or the lack of acceptance that they might get. But overwhelmingly, this is not a trauma-filled memoir about a queer coming out. It is very positive. They've had so much success in their life. Jacob has worked at the UN and the White House and has done really great things academically and through special programs. So it was wonderful to see that, to see someone who is coming up maybe a little after myself, who's a little younger and is having a really great experience where they're being accepted for who they are, rather than just a litany of traumas. And so I enjoyed this so much for that and would really, really recommend it if you are looking for a memoir to pick up. So that is it for my nonfiction November reads. I enjoyed this so much as always, and again, thank you so much to Olive from A Book Olive for putting on this readathon. It was a wonderful, wonderful time.